Morning students. Today I'm going to have a look at the last part of my subway assignment. And it models what you guys have got to do. So the first thing we had to do was look at the situation with Subway related to human resource management and consider what the issues might be. So I put together a SWOT analysis just around human resource management. Some of the strengths, a well-known brand that people might work for. Some of the weaknesses, high staff turnover. Some of the opportunities, right? Maybe we can have staff to be more innovative. And some of the threats, right? Is Subway healthy enough now? Or have perceptions changed? Or a threat more specific to human resource management, think about McDonald's. They have a much more sophisticated human resource management model than Subway does. So we drew out a bunch of issues from that analysis. There's a lack of sense of team for staff members, very little product innovation. Staff are not being paid correctly. We talked about when they close up on a shift, sometimes, well, they would only get paid for half an hour, but sometimes it would take them longer. Not enough opportunities for advancement and not much reward. We considered two potential theories, human resource management theories that we could use for Subway, and we compared them against some criteria that we were given, so these criteria were set. And aside from costs, which for Locke's goal-setting theory was quite low, we found that Maslow's hierarchy of needs would be a better model in every other way. But of course, we have to think about that from business sense. So saying that everything is better except that it's more expensive, it may be that there's limitations that you don't want to spend that money to implement it. But we've assumed that Maslow's is the better model, and we will go and explain why. So the question is, how will it sit at Subway? And this is an important part of justifying what we're doing, right? Explaining what the specific things will be. So I've put together three as an example. I think it's really important to watch this video alongside the other video I've uploaded in this week 5, which looks at individual strategies in more detail. But this is one way you could present it in your presentation, right? So, what's your human resource strategy? So, adopt a new payroll system. So, a payroll system is the way that people's hours are processed and the amount of money they're going to be paid is worked out. So, at the moment, they just estimate that each staff, that they'll take a certain amount of time to clean up, and it could be later. It could be longer than that. So, that's not okay. So, where's it fit into Maslow? Well, this is a physiological need. This is a basic need, because obviously people with their money, they use it to pay for where they're living and for their food and for their water and so on. And so this is saying we've got to get this right, because this is a basic human need. Impact on staff. This is going to be motivating. They're finally getting properly paid for the work that they do. And on the business, it could have a real positive. Around closing time, staff get very focused on cleaning up the shop and getting out, because they know they're only getting paid for half an hour. But if there was a real rush around closing time, now staff will be more inclined to serve those customers really well, knowing that if they take a little longer to clean up, they're still going to get paid properly. So Subway get the benefit possibly of more customers. So that's how I would set one of those out. Let's look at the second. We talked about that there's a lack of team feeling that could be improved. So the recommended strategy is get 3 or 4 local shops together, put them in a little team, and have some team activities. This creates a sense of belonging amongst this bigger group for people, right, which is one of Maslow's needs. The impact on staff, they'll have more social relationships, greater sense of being part of a bigger organisation. And from a Subway perspective, if staff are more connected to the activities and the people in the area around them, staff turnover will be less, and you'll have staff who've been there longer, who've got better skills in serving customers, and it's going to be cheaper than having to keep hiring and training staff all the time, which can be a very big cost in an organisation. The third one, right, at the moment, there's not a lot of career paths. There's generally fairly small stores, and they have some management functions, but not a lot. So one thing that could be done is you could build a career path within Subway, right? So making sure that you're looking at things like having a regional office, so that it becomes another area where people who get some experience could work. But also then building a program where Subway staff can own their own Subway outlets. So that means that Subway would give them a loan, which they'd pay back, but they'd have the chance to be a franchise owner, to own their own Subway restaurant. So this looks at Maslow's level of esteem, this feeling of sense of achievement, a sense of career in this case. And so from a staff point of view, they'll see there's an opportunity to progress through the Subway organisation beyond just making sandwiches. And that might be motivating for them. They might feel that there's a longer term connection with the business. That leads to, from a Subway perspective, more engaged, motivated staff, and they're going to stay longer, less turnover, and they're going to build better customer service skills. They're going to be prepared to work harder to meet the conditions of maybe getting a franchise themselves if they want to do that, and they're going to be more engaged in the business. So that sets out the way that you could, having chosen which model you're going to use, a way that you could justify your model using specific activities that would change the organisation that you are writing about.